what the timeline criteria is in that. The caregiver support group is it's actually the Alzheimer's Society of Portland who sponsors the group, but it's a support group for caregivers of people with dementia or other long-term illnesses, that just to have someone to talk to about how things worked out for them and how their situation is going is very valuable. There are 21 caregivers on our list, and they usually have 5 to 16 at a meeting, and one staff member and one volunteer facilitate the group. Falls prevention program I did mention something about. Being a newer program, some people may have questions on that. As I said, Liz Foster is here, and I'm sure that she would be available for any questions or inquiries, or even if there's someone you want to refer to her as someone who you feel might be in need of this program, just let her know. She also is in the office here, or can be contacted through our office if there's anything that you want to ask in that regard. So our volunteers, we have a volunteer appreciation, a volunteer training, and we have currently 144 scheduled volunteer positions and about 40 spares, and they fill in when others are either away on holidays or illness, or the timing just doesn't work out. So there is some information on our participation in special events and our relationships with others in the community, and our thank yous to the people who give us grants and provide support for us in other ways. I must say that our operation is, although we have 3 part-time employees who are very efficient and certainly manage the office well, it's our volunteers we depend on to deliver our programs, and we really are fortunate to have the wonderful people we do volunteer their time in this regard. So if there's any questions or remarks at this time about any of our programs, or what we do, or how we do it, or why we do it. Okay, I guess that's it then for the report. Next part of the agenda is the presentation of the nominees to become members of the board. What we've done here is we've got a list of volunteers, yes, of the board members. Rick Anala. I don't know if you all want to stand up and be proud. Rick Anala. George Anala is the treasurer who is not able to be here. Pearl Barrett, unfortunately, is away as well. Rose Bosch. Phyllis Campbell. You just wave at us, Phyllis. Norma Jean Clark. Liz Facklin. Eve Lemke. Verna Lean. Ron Redcliffe. And myself, Bonnie Threlfeld. And this year we have 2, Nancy Curta and Elman Holland. Now these are the names that are submitted as members of the board. If there are there any other nominees from the floor? Are asking a second for any other nominees for a third and final time nominees from the floor? I declare this the board of the Fletcher Park Seniors Resource Center for the 2007-2008. Okay, we are very lucky this afternoon to have an interesting presentation coming up. Gordon Peach is here from the BC Hydropower Pioneers, and we also have Corporal Harley Bell from the RCMP, and they're here to speak to us about frauds and scams, and we've asked that it be particularly focused on seniors. So I guess with no further ado, I'll ask Gordon to come forward and start the presentation.
Thank you, Bonnie. It's a pleasure to be here. I was listening to your annual report, and you certainly are a very active and busy group of people, so keep up the good work. That's great. Just give me a minute and I'll set up my overhead here. How are you today, buddy? I hope. Frauds and scams, and you folks probably know more about this than I do, but it's a program that was developed in cooperation with the BC Crime Prevention Association and also the BC Securities Commission. The concept behind the program is to help create awareness about the frauds and crimes within the community, and not necessarily to make people anxious about it, but just to be aware of the little things that you can do to help yourself avoid them. And they're getting pretty sophisticated these days, so we'll just go through some of the various types and some of the little bit of background on it. And Corporal Bell is going to give us a little more insight as to some of the issues of interest for our community in Salmon Arm. So I've told Harvey that if I start carrying on too long, he's to come up and take me away in handcuffs. Telemarketing, I think you're probably all familiar with the unexpected or unwanted phone calls. Don't necessarily believe everything that everyone who calls. And do not give personal information over the phone to strangers. It's just one of those things that they work on these days. And for seniors, we've gone through a time in our lives when we're probably more trusting. They also know that we have, some do, some have, some. They work on the emotions. They try to set themselves up as a friend, and they've always got an offer that you can't resist. So be aware. Just be aware of those things. If somebody wants to offer you something over the phone and you don't know them or you don't understand what they're talking about, you might ask them to send you some written material to help validate who they are. And don't ever let yourself be put under pressure to make a quick decision, because this is one of the most effective ways that they operate. They say, well, you've got to do it now. If you don't get in, it's not going to happen. You're going to get this at a great price, or whatever it is. So when you get that kind of pressure, you know that they're trying to sell you something, and it may not be what you want. And of course, never be afraid to hang up. I probably sometimes when I'm on the phone, but when somebody starts to try to solicit me, sometimes, and I guess you can overdo it, but sometimes when they say, well, we got this or that, and I said, well, I'm sorry, we have a household policy that we don't respond to telephone solicitations, and hang up on them. So those are some of the ways you can protect yourself. And of course, don't be afraid to get in contact with somebody before making a decision. Sometimes it could be a family member or a friend. Sometimes it might even be your bank manager or whoever it is in the community that you have a good working relationship with. Talk to them about what this person may be offering you. And of course, call the police to report suspicious calls. And I have a handout here for everybody that covers just about every agency in the province and across Canada that can provide you with support and help if you're concerned about somebody trying to present a fraud to you. So we can have one of those at the end of